It often feels like there are these huge walls between the world's great faiths. And one of the biggest, for sure, is this massive misunderstanding about Jesus and his place in Islam. Is he rejected? Is he ignored? Well, the truth is probably not what you think. And it all starts with one simple question.
So let's just get right to it. Do Muslims actually believe in Jesus? I think for a lot of us, the answer seems like an obvious no. It's a story we've kind of all heard at some point.
Yeah, the common idea is that Islam and Christianity are just completely at odds on this. That to be a good Muslim, to follow the Prophet Muhammad, you have to reject Jesus. It's an idea that's everywhere, but honestly, it gets a fundamental part of the Islamic faith completely wrong.
And here it is. This is the surprising truth. Not only do Muslims believe in Jesus, but faith in him is an absolute requirement to even be a Muslim. You literally cannot be a Muslim if you deny Jesus Christ. Just let that sink in for a minute.
So how is that possible, right? Well, it's because in Islam, believing in Jesus isn't some optional add-on. It's a core pillar of a Muslim's faith, what they call iman. It's baked right into the very foundation of the religion.
You see, this idea of iman means you have to have complete belief in all of God's messengers. We're talking about figures like Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and of course, Muhammad. They aren't seen as competing figures at all. They're seen as essential links in one single unbroken chain of guidance for all of humanity.
And that leads to this kind of all-or-nothing deal. From the Islamic point of view, you can't just pick and choose your favorites. To reject Jesus would be like breaking that chain, and if you do that, you're pretty much rejecting the whole message.
Now, if you're still a little skeptical, the proof is right there in Islam's holy book, the Quran. In fact, if we just look at the numbers, well, it reveals something pretty incredible.
Okay, so let's set a baseline. The Prophet Muhammad, the man that basically everyone connects with Islam, his name is mentioned just 4 or 5 times in the entire Quran.
Now get this, Jesus, or Isa as he's called in Arabic, is mentioned by name 25 times. That's 5 times more often than Muhammad. That alone tells you just how important he is in Islam.
But hold on, it doesn't even stop there. His mother, Mary, or Maryam, is mentioned 34 times. She is the only woman named in the entire Quran, and there's a whole chapter, Surah Maryam, named in her honor. The level of reverence is just, wow.
And that high status of Mary is such a powerful point of connection. Her story is one that both Christians and Muslims share this deep, deep respect for.
And here's a huge one. Both faiths totally affirm the virgin birth. In Islam, the birth of Jesus to the Virgin Mary is seen as this profound divine miracle, a massive sign of God's power.
The Quran doesn't just mention her, it elevates her. This verse right here says that God himself chose and purified Mary, raising her status above all other women. It's an incredible honor. And that reverence flows right from his incredible birth to his life's work. The Quran also completely affirms the miracles Jesus performed, which is another huge area of common ground.
The Quran describes Jesus speaking from the cradle as an infant, breathing life into a bird made of clay, healing the blind and the leper, and even raising the dead. These aren't small things. These are world-changing miracles, and they're all right there in Islamic scripture.
Okay, but here's a really crucial piece of context. Islam teaches that Jesus did all these amazing things, but always by the permission of God. And that detail is key. It shows he's a powerful messenger of God, not God himself. And this is where we find that core distinction.
So we've seen all this common ground, right? The virgin birth, the miracles, the deep respect for Mary. So where's the big disagreement? Well, it all boils down to one critical point of theology.
It's really this simple. In Christianity, Jesus is understood to be the Son of God, divine, and a part of the Holy Trinity. But in Islam, he's revered as one of the greatest prophets and messengers, a human being chosen for an incredible divine mission, but not divine himself. And this verse from the Quran speaks directly to that point. It's addressing the people of the Scripture, that's Christians and Jews, and it asks them not to commit excess by raising a prophet to the level of God. It affirms Jesus as a messenger and specifically warns against saying three, which is a clear reference to the Trinity. It's all about reinforcing that core Islamic belief that there is only one God. But even after we explore that key difference, the story brings us back to one last, really surprising point of connection, a shared belief about what happens at the end of the world. This is a fact that just blows a lot of people's minds. Muslims, just like Christians, are waiting for the second coming of Jesus Christ.
His return is actually a major sign of the end times in Islamic tradition.
So, Islamic tradition talks about this future time of chaos, ruled by a figure called the Dajjal, the Antichrist, and it's at that moment that Jesus is prophesied to return. His mission? To defeat this great evil, to bring justice back to the world, and to kickstart an era of peace on earth just before the final judgment.
So when you put it all together, you see that the relationship between Islam and Jesus isn't about rejection at all. It's about profound love and reverence. The disagreement isn't about his importance or his miracles. It really just comes down to his definition: a mighty prophet of God, but not the Son of God.
In a world that's so often divided by what we don't understand about each other, maybe, just maybe, knowing this shared reverence can help build a few bridges. So the real question I'll leave you with is, after seeing all this, has your perspective changed at all? Thanks for joining me.